Hey guys, so nice to see everybody tonight for the next installment. This is chapter 37 and 38. This is the killing of Kesi demon, Vyoma Sura. And then the next chapter is Akrura's trip to Vrindavan. So we're going to study both of those tonight. And they're wonderful stories. As a matter of fact, well, we'll talk more about it as we get going. But the story about Akrura going to Vrindavan is one of my favorite of all time descriptions of how we should actually learn how to meditate towards Krishna. So I think it will be heart rending and touching for you as you hear this second story tonight. After Krishna has to kill a couple of demons, you know how it is. And then Narada, he's got a little narration too, which I think is pretty cool. You'll like. So I always start out by offering my respectful obeisances and to my spiritual master. Chant with me if you know it. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudavani Paricharani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Yadeshita Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Giridhara Shri Gaura Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Jai. Bhagavatam ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam. So again, this is chapter 37 and 38 in the 10th canto. And if you don't know this, you can go to Vedabase.io. And in Vedabase.io, you can have all these books at no charge. But please make some donations to your local chapter of the ISKCON temples. And we would be grateful for that because we're trying to spread this information all over the world. So as usual, I'll start out with the first 10 or so, and then you guys can chime in as you like, okay? So text 1 and 2, Sukadeva Goswami said, the demon Kesi sent by Kamsa appeared in Braja as a great horse. Running with the speed of the mind, he tore up the earth with his hooves. The hairs of his mane scattered the clouds and the demigods' airplanes throughout the sky, and he terrified everyone present with his loud neighing. Seeing the Lord standing before him, Kesi ran towards him in extreme rage, his mouth gaping, as if to swallow up the sky. Rushing with furious speed, the unconquerable and unapproachable horse demon tried to strike the lotus-eyed Lord with his two front legs. But the transcendental Lord dodged Keshi's blow, and then with his arms angrily seized the demon by the legs, whirled him around in the air, and contemptuously threw him in a distance of 100 bow lengths, just as Garuda might throw a snake. Lord Krishna then stood there. Upon regaining consciousness, Keshi angrily got up, opened his mouth wide, and again rushed to attack Lord Krishna. But the Lord just smiled and thrust his left arm into the horse's mouth as easily as one would make a snake enter a hole in the ground. Keshi's teeth immediately fell out when they touched the Supreme Lord's arm, which to the demon felt as hot as molten iron. With Keshi's body, the Supreme Personality's arm then greatly expanded, like a diseased stomach swelling because of neglect. As Lord Krishna's expanding arm completely blocked Keshi's breathing, his legs kicked convulsively. His body became covered with sweat, and his eyes rolled around. The demon then passed stool and fell on the ground dead. The mighty armed Krishna withdrew his arm from Keshi's body, which now appeared like a long Karkitaka fruit. Without the least display of pride at having so effortlessly killed his enemy, the Lord accepted the demigod's worship in the form of flowers rained down from above. My dear king, thereafter Lord Krishna was approached in a solitary place by the great sage among the demigods, Narada Muni. The most exalted devotee spoke as follows to the Lord, who effortlessly performs his pastimes. Who would like to pick it up? Where Narada Muni speaks.
I will.
Oh,
Okay.
do you want to Jai Krishna first?
Sure.
No, doesn't matter.
No, let him go.
I can.
He's
Okay,
got
here he goes. There he goes. Here I
Oh
go.
yes, just in case. No, no, you go. Just in case we lose you, it's best we have you
No,
right back.
no. We had a storm passed a couple of days ago. We're good. We hope.
good, good.
Narada Muni said, "O Krishna, Krishna, unlimited Lord, source of all mystic power, Lord of the universe, O Vasudeva, shelter of all beings and best of the Yadus. O Master, you are the supreme Lord of all created beings, sitting unseen within the cave of the heart like the fire dormant within kindling wood. You are the witness within everyone, the supreme personality and the ultimate controlling deity. You are the shelter of all souls, and being the supreme controller, you fulfill your desires simply by your will, by your personal creative potency. You manifestate in the beginning of the primal modes of the material nature, and through their agency you create, maintain, and then destroy this universe. You, that very same creator, have now descended to the earth to annihilate Daita, Parmata, and Rakshasa demons who were posing as kings and also to protect the godly. The Rakshasas are all over right now, that's for sure. The horse demon was so terrifying that his name frightened the demigods into leaving their heavenly kingdom. But by their good fortune, you have enjoyed the sport of killing him. In just 2 days, O Almighty Lord, I will see the deaths of Chandru, Mustika, and other wrestlers, along with those of the elephant, Kubala Pita, and King Kamsa, all by your hand. Then I will see you kill Kala Albana,
Alajavana.
Muda, thank you, Naraka, and the conch demon. I will also see you steal the Pajita flower and defeat Indra. I will then see you marry many daughters of heroic kings, after paying for them with your valor. Then, O Lord of the universe, in Devaka, you will deliver the king Narga from a curse and take for yourself the Shamataka jewel, together with another wife. You will bring back a brahmachari's dead son, bring back a brahmana's dead son from the abode of your servant Yamaraj, and thereafter you'll kill Pundraka. Burn down the city of Kasi and slay Dandavakra. You will also put an end to the king of Sidi during the great Rashat Uya
Rajasuna.
sacrifice.
Yep.
You know, I shall see all these heroic pastimes along with many others you will perform during your residence of Dwarka. These pastimes are glorified on this earth in the songs of transcendental poets. Rangabati used to get all these hard names. Now I got them tonight.
You got the hardest
Sus-
part tonight.
no, she always used to have them. I think that's why she had me go first. Subsequently,
She
I
set
will
you
see you
up,
appear.
Jackie.
I will see you appear as time personified, serving as Arjuna's chariot driver and destroying entire armies of soldiers to rid the earth of her burden. Let us approach you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, for shelter. You are full of perfectly pure spiritual awareness and are always situated in your original identity. Since your will is never thwarted, you have already achieved all possible desirable things. By the power of your spiritual energy, you remain internally aloof to the flow of the qualities of illusion. I bow down to you, the Supreme Controller, who are dependent only on yourself. By your potency, you have constructed the unlimited particular arrangements of the universe. Now you have appeared in the great hero among the Yadus, the Brinishis, and Sattvatas, and have chosen to participate in human warfare. Sukadeva Goswami said, having thus addressed Lord Krishna, the chief of the Yadav dynasty, Narada bowed down and offered him obeisances. Then that great sage and most eminent devotee took his leave of the Lord and went away, feeling great joy at having directly seen him. I do want to say one thing. We're
Yeah.
losing a great friend of mine, god brother yours, Vishvareta. I don't know if you knew him, Prabhu. I put it in the group chat, and he's a Prabhupada disciple and one of the most incredible, wonderful, loving, greatest human beings and devotee I've ever met in my life. And if
Wow.
you can chant in his honor, Vishvareta, he's in New Vrindavan. I think he left his body yesterday. I just didn't get the exact news, but he looks bad, and just pray for him. He's your god
Name
brother
is
and my dearest and dearest friend,
his name is Vishvareta.
Vishvareta.
Well,
Yeah,
this class is dedicated to Vishvareta tonight.
thank you. Haribol,
Yeah.
off to you, Raghavati.
By the way, this next chapter we're going to read is specifically dedicated to him, and I think you'll see why in just a minute.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Wait till
Thank
you
you.
hear this next chapter. It's going to blow your mind. Okay, go
I'm
ahead.
waiting.
Yeah, Rangavati, go ahead.
Okay. Text 25. After killing the demon Kesi in battle, the Supreme Personality of Godhead continued to tend the cows and other animals in the company of his joyful cowherd boyfriends. Thus he brought happiness to all the residents of Vrindavan. One day, the cowherd boys, while grazing their animals on the mountain slopes, played the game of stealing and hiding, setting out the roles of rival thieves and herders.
Mhm.
In that game, O king, some acted as thieves, others as shepherds, and others as sheep. They played their games happily without fear of danger. A powerful magician named Vyoma, son
Vyoma.
of the demon Maya, then appeared on the scene in the guise of a cowherd boy. Pretending to join the game as a thief, he proceeded to steal most of the cowherd boys who were acting as sheep. Gradually, the great demon abducted more and more of the cowherd boys and cast them into a mountain cave, which he sealed shut with a boulder. Finally, only 4 or 5 boys acting as sheep remained in the game. Lord Krishna, who shelters all saintly devotees, understood perfectly well what Vyoma Asura was doing. Just as a lion grabs a wolf, Krishna forcefully seized the demon as he was taking away more cowherd boys. The demon changed into his original form as big and powerful as a great mountain. But try as he might to free himself, he could not do so, having lost his strength from being held in the Lord's tight grip. Lord Achyuta clutched Vyomasura between his arms and threw him to the ground. Then, while the demigods in heaven looked on, Krishna killed him in the same way that one kills a sacrificial animal.
Hmm.
Krishna then smashed the boulder, blocking the cave's entrance, and led the trapped cowherd boys to safety. Thereafter, as the demigods and cowherd boys sung his glories, he returned to his cowherd village of Gokula. So that's
Now, this chapter is specifically dedicated to my dear god brother who's passing. It's called Akrura's Arrival in Vrindavan. And this is one of the best meditations you could ever imagine. We should have this meditation. We should actually start thinking like Akrura, because you'll see what happened. You remember what Akrura got sent to Vrindavan to bring Krishna, set him up to be killed by Mustika and the other wrestler, and also by the elephant. But Krishna is going to show up. He's going to kill Kamsa and all those guys pretty soon. So, but this is wonderful because Akrura is meditating on seeing the Lord. So, who would like to read next? Text 1.
I can read.
Good.
Shukdev Goswami said, after passing the night in the city of Mathura, the high-minded Akrura mounted his chariot and set off for the cowherd village of Nand Maharaj. As he traveled on the road, the great soul Akrura felt tremendous devotion for the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, and thus he began to consider as follows. Sri Akrura thought, what pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities undergone? What worship performed or charity given, so that today I will see Lord Kesha? Since I am a materialistic person absorbed simply in sense gratification, I think it is as difficult for me to have gotten this opportunity to see Lord Uttama Shloka as it would be for one born a Shudra to be allowed to recite the Vedic mantras. But enough of such thoughts. After all, even a fallen soul like me can have the chance to behold the infallible Supreme Lord, for one of the conditioned souls being kept along in the river of time may sometimes reach the shore. Today, all my sinful reactions have been eradicated and my birth has become worthwhile, since I will offer my obeisances to the Supreme Lord's lotus feet, which mystic yogis meditate upon. Indeed, today King Kamsa has shown me extreme mercy by sending me to see the lotus feet of Lord Hari, who has now appeared in this world. Simply by the effulgence of his toenails, many souls in the past have transcended the insurmountable darkness of material existence and achieved liberation. Those lotus feet are worshipped by Brahma, Shiva, and all the other demigods, by the goddess of fortune, and also by the great sages and Vaishnavas. Upon those lotus feet, the Lord walks about the forest while herding the cows with his companions, and those feet are smeared with the kumkum from the gopis' breasts. Surely I shall see the face of Lord Mukunda, since the deer are now walking past me on my right. That face, framed by his curly hair, is beautified by his attractive cheeks and nose, his smiling glances, and his reddish lotus eyes. I'm going to see the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the reservoir of all beauty, who by his own sweet will has now assumed a human-like form to relieve the earth of her burden. Thus there is no denying that my eyes will achieve the perfection of their existence. He is the witness of material cause and effect, yet he is always free from false identification with them. By his internal potency, he dispels the darkness of separation and confusion. The individual souls in this world who are manifested here, when he glances upon his material creative energy, indirectly perceive him in the activities of their life, airs, senses, and intelligence. All sins are destroyed, and all good fortune is created by the Supreme Lord's qualities, activities, and appearances. And words that describe these three things animate, beautify, and purify the world. On the other hand, words bereft of his glories are like decorations on a corpse.
Wow. That's very nice. Very nice. Vamsi, you'd like to read some? I see your smiling face down there.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, I can.
Are you in the car?
Text.
Huh?
Yeah, I just parked.
You're amazing, Vamsi. You're amazing. You know what? You could be like the Postal Service, the Pony Express when it comes to Krishna consciousness. You're going to make it no matter what. I just love that. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Please read.
Okay. Yes. Text 13.
Yep.
That same Supreme Lord has descended into the dynasty of the Sattvatas to delight the exalted demigods who maintain the principles of religion he has created. Residing in Vrindavan, he spreads his fame.
Oh, we lost him.
Oh, I wonder how. He's in the car after all.
I can read for him.
Today,
There he's back.
Hare Krishna, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're back. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I don't know. Today I shall certainly see him, the goal and spiritual master of the great souls. Seeing him brings jubilation to all who have eyes, for he is the true beauty of the universe. Indeed, his personal form is the shelter desired by the goddess of fortune. Now all the dawns of my life have become auspicious. Then I will at once alight from my chariot and bow down to the lotus feet of Krishna and Balrama, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Theirs are the same feet that great mystic yogis, striving for self-realization, bear within their minds. I will also offer my obeisances to the Lord's cowherd boyfriends and to all the other residents of Vrindavan. And when I have fallen at his feet, the Almighty Lord will place his lotus hand upon my head. For those who seek shelter in him, because they are greatly disturbed by the powerful serpent of time, that hand removes all fear. By offering charity to that lotus hand, Purandara and Bali earned the status of Indra, king of heaven. And during the pleasure pastimes of the Rasa dance, when Lord wiped away the gopis' perspiration and removed their fatigue, the touch of their face made that hand as fragrant as a sweet flower. The infallible Lord, Hare Krishna. Okay. The infallible Lord will not consider me an enemy, even though Kamsa has sent me here as his messenger. After all, the omniscient Lord is the actual knower of the field of the material body, and with his perfect vision, he witnesses both externally and internally all the endeavors of the conditioned soul's heart. Thus he will cast his smiling, affectionate glance upon me as I remain fixed with joined palms, fallen in obeisances at his feet. Then all my contamination will at once be dispelled, and I will give up all doubts and feel the most intense bliss. Recognizing me as an intimate friend and relative, Krishna will embrace me with his mighty arms, instantly sanctifying my body and diminishing to nil all my material bondage, which is due to fruitive activities. Having been embraced by the all-famous Lord Krishna, I will humbly stand before him with bowed head and joined palms, and he will address me, "My dear Akrura." At that very moment, my life's purpose will be fulfilled. Indeed, the life of everyone whom the Supreme Personality fails to recognize is simply pitiable. The Supreme Lord has no favorite and no dearmost friend, nor does he consider anyone undesirable, despicable, or fit to be neglected. All the same, he lovingly reciprocates with his devotees in whatever manner they worship him, just as trees of heaven fulfill the desires of whoever approaches him. And then Lord Krishna's elder brother, the foremost of the Yadus, will grasp my joined hands while I'm still standing with my head bowed, and after embracing me, he will take me to his house. There he will honor me with all items of ritual welcome and inquire from me about how Kamsa has been treating his family members.
Okay.
Should I finish off the chapter, Prabhu?
How many more verses do we have?
Oh, I think there are quite a few. I finished till 23,
Take
but
a few more. Take a few more, and we'll let Krishna Dasi or Jai
okay,
if they want to read some more too.
sure. Sukadev Goswami continued, "My dear king, while the son of Swapalka traveled on the road, thus meditating deeply on Sri Krishna, he reached Gokula as the sun was beginning to set. In the cowherd pastures, Akrura saw the footprints of those feet whose pure dust the rulers of all the planets in the universe hold on their crowns. Those footprints of the Lord, distinguished by such marks as the lotus, barley corn, and elephant gourd, made the ground wonderfully beautiful. Increasingly agitated by ecstasy at seeing the Lord's footprints, his bodily hair standing on end became, because of his pure love, and his eyes filled with tears, Akrura jumped down from his chariot and began rolling about among those footprints, exclaiming, "Ah, this is the dust from my master's feet." The very goal of life for all embodied beings is this ecstasy, which Akrura experienced when upon receiving Kamsa's order, he put aside all pride, fear, and lamentation and absorbed himself in seeing, hearing, and describing the things that reminded him of Lord Krishna. Akrura then saw Krishna and Balram in the village of Vraj, going to milk the cows. Krishna wore yellow garments, Balrama blue, and their eyes resembled autumnal lotuses. One of those two mighty armed youths, the shelter of the goddess of fortune, had a dark blue complexion, and the other was white. With their fine-featured faces, they were the most beautiful of all persons, as they walked with the gait of young elephants, glancing upon the compassionate smiles. Those two exalted personalities beautified the cow pastures with the impression of their feet, which bore the marks of the flag, lightning bolt, elephant goad, and the lotus. The two lords, whose pastimes are most magnanimous and attractive, were ornamented with jewel necklaces and flower garlands, anointed with auspicious fragrant substances, freshly baked and dressed in spotless raiment. They were the primeval supreme personality of Godhead, the masters and original cause of the universe, who had, for the welfare of the earth, now descended in this distinct form of Keshava and Balarama. O King Parishit, they resemble two gold-bedecked mountains, one of emeralds and the other of silver, as with their effulgence they dispel the sky's darkness in all directions. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. There's a few more.
Yeah. Would you mind, Krishna Dasi? Could you read a little bit?
Yes. 34, right?
Yep, 34.
Akrura, overwhelmed with affection, quickly jumped down from his chariot and fell at the feet of Krishna and Balram like a rod. The joy of seeing the Supreme Lord flooded Akrura's eyes with tears and decorated his limbs with eruptions of ecstasy. He felt such eagerness that he could not speak to present himself, O king. Recognizing Akrura, Lord Krishna drew him close with his hand, which bears the sign of the chariot wheel, and then embraced him. Krishna felt pleased, for he is always benignly disposed toward his surrendered devotees. As Akrura stood with his head bowed, Lord Sankarsana, which is Balram, grasped his joined hands, and then Balram took him to his house in the company of Lord Krishna. After inquiring from Akrura whether his trip had been comfortable, Balram offered him a first-class seat, bathed his feet in accordance with the injunctions of scripture, and respectfully served him milk with honey. How nice. The Almighty Lord Balram presented Akrura with the gift of a cow, massaged his feet to relieve him of fatigue, and then with great respect and faith fed him suitably prepared food of various fine tastes. When Akrura had eaten to his satisfaction, Lord Balram, the supreme knower of religious duties, offered him aromatic herbs for sweetening his mouth, along with fragrances in flower garlands. Thus Akrura once again enjoyed the highest pleasure. Nand Maharaj asked Akrura, O descendant of Dasharath, how are you all of you maintaining yourselves while that merciless Kamsa remains alive? You are just like sheep under the care of a butcher. That cruel, self-serving Kamsa murdered the infants of his own sister in her presence, even as she cried in anguish. So why should we even ask about the well-being of you, his subjects? Honored by Nanda Maharaj with these true and pleasing words of inquiry, Akrura forgot the fatigue of his journey.
So that's two good chapters tonight, chapter 37 and 38. wonderful chapters from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Purana, or the history of Krishna's activities on this earth, which are pretty amazing. They go back actually as the oldest known written records that we have. So Sanskrit language is the oldest known writing, and the Puranas are the histories written in Sanskrit that we can understand a little bit about the previous cultures that existed 5,000 plus years ago. And from that, we do understand that there are many, many wonderful appearances from God, activities where God is sending his servants. He's coming himself in different forms, all to deliver us back home, back to Godhead, back with the Lord again, where we live an eternal life without any suffering or without any pain of death. And we're in our perfect Swarup city, or youthful body, blooming youth, that exists eternally. So these are all axioms in the Vedic literature. You can find those and you can read them yourself. Are there any questions about these two chapters that somebody wants to bring to bear, or otherwise I can kind of recap quickly? It's up to you. Do you have any questions? Okay, so text 42. So what we're talking about here is Balaram is, first of all, Balaram and Krishna welcomed Akrura, who came from the king as a messenger, and they washed his feet and served him milk and honey. This is the land of milk and honey. We've heard about that in the Bible, right? The land of milk and honey. So they served him milk and honey and offered him aromatic herbs to sweeten his mouth. And he then relaxed and forgot the fatigue of his whole journey coming from the city back to Vrindavan. He came actually for the purpose of setting up Krishna and Balaram for their death. But as we know, Narada Muni had just appeared to him and told him again that Krishna and Balaram were alive and that they would be his ultimate death. So therefore, what did he do? The first thing he did was grab his sister again and start to kill her. And Narada Muni said, well, there's no need in doing that. She's not going to cause your death. Krishna and Balaram will cause your death. So he begins to set up the situation so that Krishna and Balaram can be invited to a wrestling arena and killed by his elephant, which is as powerful as death, according to him. And then the two great wrestlers, he considers them to be as powerful as death too. So if you don't know this story, the story starts with Kamsa, who was the known king of the world, on the way home with his sister and her husband, who had just been married. There were hundreds of chariots, maidservants, elephants, all this procession going through this beautiful capital city of Dwarka. And they're going through this capital city, and it's a marriage. And then all of a sudden, Kamsa hears this voice in the sky, "You fool, do you not know that the son of your sister will be the cause of your death?" So he was going to kill her then. So in this verse, it's revealed, it says that cruel, self-serving Kamsa murdered the infants of his own sister. And he did that over and over and over again. As she had a child, even though that wasn't the son that was predicted to kill him, he took the baby literally from her birth chamber and dashed it against the stones. This is how cruel this king was at this time. So God had come to alleviate the burden of the world for all the armies of kings, where they're actually demons masquerading as kings. So kings at this time, this is the beginning of the Kali Yuga. This is the winter age of mankind. So this would have been 5,000 plus years ago. And at that time, apparently the world was overburdened with these demoniac kings who were exploiting their citizens, who were warmongers, warlords, and who were simply out to exploit and rob and murder and kill and take whatever they wanted for their treasuries. Now, this is demoniac behavior because the king's job is to protect the citizens. But apparently this king, Kamsa, had not been doing that, but instead exploiting. As a matter of fact, he threw his own father in prison, and he had plans to kill his father after Krishna and Balaram, who were the avatars of God, who had come to the earth 5,000 years ago. to annihilate these miscreants and to reestablish the principles of Dharma. We call it religion, but religion is something you can change, whereas Dharma is something you cannot change. Dharma is like liquidity to water. You may change it to gas, you may freeze it, but it will always be seeking its original state, which is that of liquidity. So we are servants. Our goal is we're no good unless we're serving, actually. We have to selflessly serve to satisfy the self inside, which is the soul within our body. So when we learn to selflessly serve, we're happy all the time. But if we expect service in the world, we're going to be disappointed, aren't we? How many times have you expected something from someone else and you expected them to return the favor, so to speak, or serve you in some way, and then you find yourself disappointed and hurt? So the idea is we don't subject ourselves to that. We want to become selfless servants, just like Christ was fixed for his whole life in a state of selfless service. So therefore, he was undisturbed. In the Vedas, that's called stita dhira. Dhira means undisturbed, unmoved by the situation, whatever the situation may be. We see every day, some days are storms, some days beautiful sky. So we have to understand there's loss, gain, victory, defeat. In the world, it is coming to everybody just by the nature of the yin and yang, okay? That's what runs this world, positive and negative, and the tension between causes its perpetuity. So this is all discussed in the Sri Upanishad. You're welcome to study the verses in the Sri Upanishad. They're very clear how they discuss that. So, so at this point, I'm going to go back, if you don't mind, to the chapter before this one, because it's fairly quick. It's chapter 37. So if you don't mind, let's go back and go over just a couple of important verses there, if you will. Let's see. I gotta scroll up here to get it. Okay, here it is. The killing of the demons Kesi and Vyoma. So these demons, okay, were sent by Kamsa. Now, in previous times, it's hard for us to understand. Okay, we watch Superman, we watch Spider-Man, we watch Batman, we see the Hulk, we see the Avengers. These are all great superheroes that are created out of our fertile concoction. Okay, they don't exist. Those personalities don't exist, but they do have these powers that somehow or another we're all very attracted to. Why are we so attracted to these powers that we see that these cartoon characters have? They can fly through the air. They can go anywhere. They can go smaller than the smallest. They're stronger. They can pick up a mountain. They can do this and that. All of these fictional characters are a waste of your time. But when God descends, the most powerful creatures in all of creation come to challenge him. Why? Well, if we know in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says in 9:11, Avajananti mang mudha, manusyam tanamashritam, param bhavam majanato, mama bhutva maheshwaram. What this means is that fools deride me when I descend into human form. In other words, they don't believe in God. Atheists do not believe in God. So God does not reveal himself to those who don't want to believe in him, obviously. Why would he do it? But he comes to them in this case as either all-devouring death. So in this situation, he says, they do not know my transcendental nature, which is my supreme dominion over all that be. They don't acknowledge that. So as a result of that, they don't know God and won't know God, and God will not reveal to them. Now, the pure at heart, according to the Bible, shall see God. So apparently Akrura and all these personalities who were surrounded Akrura when he came, of course, Balaram and Krishna were there and all of his entourage. They understood them as the supreme personality of Godhead. So we'll discuss that in a moment. So, but Kesi demon is a horse demon. We've seen there's been a mule, what was it, a bull demon. There's been ass demon, so many different kinds of demons. Now we have a horse demon, and these are all kind of magicians. Vyomasura, is called a magician because he's capable of manipulating material energy and taking disguises. So back in these days, the yogic powers still existed. We don't see that today on the earth, do we? I mean, we don't see people becoming smaller than the smallest, reaching out and bringing back things from into the universe. These siddhas or perfections are yogic siddhas, and they're actually known as mahima, lahima, and different perfections where you can have the powers of God. You can actually become empowered by God because you've lived in accordance with the laws of the universe. Just like the demigods or angels in heaven, they don't break the religious principles. Therefore, they're trusted by God. They're trusted with the lights, the water, the electricity, all of that of the universe, and everything is going on very nicely. God has expanded himself into everything we see, including you and me and all of this. Now we're separated from the Lord eternally. We're called Jivatma and he is Paramatma. We're infinitesimal and he is infinite. So it's like sparks in a fire. So there's the fire and there's the sparks. The sparks are small, infinitesimal sparks, but they have the quality of the fire. Just like one drop of water is not the whole ocean, but it has the quality of the whole ocean. So you too can have the qualities of God, but you have to practice yoga to achieve that. You have to control the mind. You have to control your ability to meditate, just like Akrura has been meditating on seeing God. So he's going to see God, and he realizes the wonderful, auspicious nature of him doing this. And he is, his hairs are standing on end, eyes are filled with tears, shivering in his body, this and that, because he's realizing I get the privilege to stand before God and deliver this message. So this is the story. So the Kesi demon, he assumed the form of this huge horse. He went to Vraja, and he was terrifying all the inhabitants. Nobody liked that. So Krishna came forward and challenged him. He told him, he said, come on. So Kesi rushes him, and he takes his legs, and he tries to hurt Krishna. Well, what happens? Krishna seizes this horse demon and whirled him around many, many times and threw him a distance, it says here, of 100 bow lengths. So that seems quite a distance. And Kesi had remained unconscious for a period of time. But once he woke up, he became furious and he charged again. And at this point, Krishna just put his hand into the horse's mouth, literally. And it expanded, and the horse became choking, and he gave up his life. Now, he had taken on this, So after this happened, actually, the demigods or the angels are all watching this, and they're all there, and they're throwing these showers of flowers and so forth. Now, Narada Muni appears next, and Narada Muni is coming. They consider to be the sage amongst the demigods. So he approached Krishna, and he prayed to him in various ways, and he paid his obeisances to the Lord. Okay, so let's see, did we miss something here? Yeah. Soon thereafter, Narada Muni, the great sage, approached Krishna, and we'll read that in a moment. One day, while tending the cows, Krishna and Balaram, cowherd boys, were playing hide and go seek. And one group of the boys were playing thieves, like trying to steal the sheep, apparently, and the other one were the sheep. So this great demon Vyomasura, he came and he took the role of one of the sheep, apparently, but he started stealing the cowherd boys as one. No, he took a role as a thief, and he abducted the cowherd boys, and he put them in a mountain cave, and he rolled this boulder across the cave. Gradually, over a period of time, he was abducting all the boys and putting them in the cave, and Krishna caught him doing it at the end. So therefore, he chased him down, grabbed him, and even though he became the size of a whole mountain, he could not escape Krishna's grasp, this little cowherd boy. And he killed him just like you might see a sacrificial animal killed. Now, this may sound a little morbid or maybe a little cruel, but try to understand that Vyomasura was a great demon causing great pain and suffering to innocent people for probably hundreds of thousands of years in his existence, and it was time for him to be taken out. Whenever the Lord kills you, you're complete. When the Lord touches you, you become completely sinless. So just being in the presence of God, you become purified from his association, from the light of his body, the glance of the Lord. And if the Lord touches you, excuse me, guys, I've got some kind of stuff in my throat, so this is saline. It kind of cuts through the mucus. I use that recording studio when I'm singing sometimes. Works pretty good. So anyway, so Krishna killed him, sent him to where he needed to the abode of death. And of course, all of the demigods showered flowers again. So, okay. So we won't go through all of those two stories. We've done that. And but the interesting thing was that when Narada shows up, he speaks to Krishna in a very prayerful way, right? So Narada Muni, he is the kind of the transcendental spaceman, literally goes everywhere to set up these pastimes for the Lord. Whatever the Lord does, everyone is unlimitedly benefited. The sadhus, they are the spiritual people, they go back. Even the demons that the Lord kills, he brings them home. So all of this is all designed as the mercy of God and in his pastimes, and he then delivers everybody in these various pastimes. So Narada Muni starts talking about, because this is about the end of Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Krishna's leaving now to go to Dwarka. And so his pastimes are going to change. They're more military based, they're more kingly based, where previously Krishna was a little cowherd boy, just having some fun in the groves of Vrindavan, herding the cows and chasing the gopis. So a very, very fun thing for Krishna. But now his pastimes are winding up. So Narada Muni starts talking about these. And one of the things that he says is that you are the shelter of all souls. You're the supreme controller. You fulfill everyone's desires simply by your will. By your personal creative potency, you manifested in the beginning the primal modes of nature. And through their agency, you create, maintain, and destroy this universe. This is very similar to what Arjuna said in chapter 10, verse 12 and 13 in Bhagavad Gita, where he says, Arjuna uvacha, param brahma, param dhamma, pavitram paramam bhavam, purusham shashvatam divyam, adidevam ajam vibhum. And with that, basically, Arjuna is saying that Krishna, you are the supreme Brahman, you're the ultimate, you're the supreme abode, you're the supreme purifier, you're the absolute truth, you're the eternal divine person, you are the primal God, transcendental and original, of which no one can be equal to nor greater than. You are the unborn, all-pervading beauty in all things. All great sages such as Narada, Asita Devala, and Vyas, who compiled the Vedic literatures, proclaim this of you, and now you yourself are declaring this to me. So these are very important lessons that we're learning from these pure devotees of the Lord. And we're understanding Narada Muni, because Narada Muni is also Tri Kalagyani. Do you know what that is? Anybody know what Tri Kalagyani is?
He knows present and future.
Say it again.
He knows past, present, and future.
Thank you very much. Very good. Well studied. So, yes. So he starts beginning to foretell the future of Krishna and his pastimes in Dwarka. And the first thing he says, I see the deaths of Chanura and Mustika and the other wrestlers, along with the elephant Kuvalayapida and King Kamsa, all by your hand. Then I will see you kill Kalayavana, Mura, Naraka, and the conch demon. I also see you steal the Parijata flower and defeat Indra. All of these pastimes are getting ready to happen. He's going to see him marry many daughters of heroic kings, and he pays for them with his valor. Then the Lord of the universe in Dwarka, you will deliver King Nigha from a curse and take for yourself the Shamantaka jewel, which is a very famous story, together with another wife. And you will bring back a Brahmana's dead son from the abode of your servant Yamaraj. Yamaraj is the Lord of death. So we've seen that Jesus Christ raised the dead 3,000 years after Krishna had raised the dead in this particular story. In Dwarka, where he brings back the Brahmana's son, dead son. And he said, then you'll kill Pundraka, burn down the city of Kashi, and Dantavakra, and you will also put an end to King Chedi. And he goes on talking about the Rajasuya sacrifice and all these different things. And he says that these are the pastimes that are glorified in songs of great transcendental poets. So if you read the histories of the world, these are great songs that are sung. The Vedas are not even spoken. We're speaking them, but they're sung. They're very beautifully sung, as a matter of fact. So it used to be that every word was a song and every gait was a dance, but not so much anymore. Okay. So Narada then offers his prayers and foretells the future of Krishna, and then he bows out, gets back to work, setting up the next program for the Lord. So, and he says, now you've appeared as the greatest hero among the Yadus, Vrishnis, and Sattvatas, and have chosen to participate in human warfare. The Lord himself chose to participate in human warfare, and therefore armies, whole armies of these demoniac soldiers and demoniac kings are annihilated while his pastimes take place in Dwarka. And by the way, nobody knows these stories. These are great stories that everyone should know. We know stories like the Iliad and Shakespeare and all nonsense things, but we don't know these great pastimes and stories of the Lord. So, and he goes on to tell about how he chose to participate in the Battle of Kurukshetra and actually didn't participate in human warfare except for as a chariot driver. Okay. So, all right. So if we look at this, let's go to the next chapter. Hold on. Chapter 38. This chapter is describing, Akrura's trip and his meditation along the trip. So there's a few verses here that I'd just like to pull out. And if anybody's got anything to say, please just chime in and stop me. So in text 3, it says, Sri Akrura thought, what pious deeds have I done? What severe austerities have I undergone? What worship performed or charity given so that today I shall see Lord Keshava? So this is his question. So he's realizing the supreme fortune of his working for a demon king, but being assigned a mission. And he deserved the mission because Akrura was truthful and always did his duty perfectly well. So Akrura was the perfect soul to go see Krishna. But what does Akrura say? He says, in humility, he says, since I am a materialistic person, absorbed simply in sense gratification, I think it is difficult for me to have gotten this opportunity to see Lord Uttama Shloka as it would be for one born a Sudra to be allowed to recite Vedic mantras. So that's a pretty strong statement when we think about it. But he thought that to himself. And if you look at all the great songs of the Vaishnava Acharyas, you'll see they all start out at that. And even Ranga and I were talking about earlier today that gold is found in dirty places. In other words, if you want gold, you got to get your hands in the dirt. So you're going to have to get dirty to get there where the gold is, right? So if we're disseminating perfect knowledge, does that mean we're perfect? No, we may or may not be perfect. But if we say perfect truth, then a person can achieve perfection through that axiom of truth. You understand what I'm saying? So even though we may not be qualified, and if you look at the point, all the great Vaishnavas all say that. I am not qualified, I'm not competent, I'm not capable, but the Lord empowers us to do these types of services. And I'm going to read something to you that is on the back of a Vyasa Puja that we were, what happened? That we were reading the other day, me and Chandra Shekhar. And I want you to hear this because this is very, very nice. Srila Prabhupada said, yes, everyone should be dedicated, I or you. That is the success of life. Dedicate your life for Krishna. That is the perfection. Even there are some faults. Dedicated life is noble life. Maybe due to our past habits, we may commit some faulty action. But that dedicated life is still sublime. Those are the words of Srila Prabhupada on a morning walk in Mayapur in 1974. So try to understand, Krishna sees your purpose. You know, did you ever have a teacher in school that gave you a good grade just because you did effort? We used to have, it was called E for effort. You had no grade, but they give you an E for effort. Fortunately, I never did. I never had to do that. But I always heard about that. And I thought, well, at least they've got some compensation in case you don't know the material. Because that's because the teacher appreciates your dedication, even though you may have some fault, even though there may be some faulty action, you're still dedicated to the activity. And in the teacher's mind, they see that as sublime, and therefore you're awarded a passing grade. So this is called Kripa Siddhi, that we receive the mercy, our perfection of going back home to the spiritual world because we're getting an E for effort. We're getting an E for effort. I mean, if you think you can get back through sadhana siddhi, you're one rare soul. So ultimately, it's coming to us through the spiritual master's grace that we are actually saved. But our work is important for the spiritual master to see, and Krishna sees, because that dedication is actually what delivers us. So I thought that would be pretty cool comment to make and read for you. So he even goes on to say, Akrura says, today all my sinful reactions have been eradicated. And now my birth in this world has become worthwhile. Because he gets to associate with the Lord. And we know that there are 9 devotional processes. And we can serve the Lord and we can be with the Lord by doing those 9 devotional processes, right? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasham, Sakyam, Atma, Nivedanam. This means that you can serve the Lord by hearing about the Lord. You can serve the Lord by speaking about the Lord. You can, by speaking and hearing, remember the Lord. Remembering is a devotional process. You can offer worship in the temple. You can become a friend to the Lord. You can dedicate everything, your whole life to the Lord. You can offer prayers to the Lord. So many different ways that you could serve. But we're das anudas. That means we serve the servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. We don't serve Krishna directly. We're not qualified. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Yat karosi yadashnasi, yaj juhoshi devasiyat, yat tapasyasi konteya, tat kurushva mad aparnam. And that means, O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer or give away, as well as any austerity of yoga that you may perform, all of these things should always be done as an offering to me. And by doing that, actually, you become perfected because every act then becomes an act of devotional service or of yoga. And even though it may not be done perfectly well, there may be some fault, Krishna accepts the intent in that situation. Okay? So, very important philosophical things that we should understand. So he goes on to say, Akrura says, surely I shall see the face of the Lord, Lord Mukunda. and he sees these auspicious signs of the deer walking in a particular way or whatever. But he talks about the Lord's face framed by his curly hair, beautified by his attractive cheeks and nose, smiling glances, and his reddish lotus eyes. I'm going to see the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the reservoir of all beauty, who by his own sweet will has now assumed a human-like form to relieve the earth of her burden. Thus, there is no denying that my eyes will achieve the perfection of their existence. Do you remember in the last chapter, the gopis cursed the Creator for making eyes that have to blink because their vision of the Lord was being interrupted by this blinking. So, I mean, it's a friendly curse, okay? It was not a bad thing. But they were going, what is this Creator who come up with these blinking eyes? Why would he do that? Because he's interrupting our vision of him. And these are the purest devotees in existence, 100% dedicated in love with God, have no deviation. They're in a perfect state of samadhi in yoga or ecstasy. And what does that say? He says that simply by being in association of the Lord, all good fortune is created for everyone. His activities, his appearance, his words, any of these things. If you describe these things, they'll beautify and purify the whole world and anyone who hears them. But on the other hand, words that do not describe the glory of God are like decorations on a corpse. It's pretty strong, guys. Think about that. But it's true, because all you're doing, Prabhupada said, this idle talk, chatter, nonsense is like the frog. He's croaking. You ever seen the frog? His chest pokes out. He's all bloated out looking, and he makes this noise. And then the snake hears it. And so the snake creeps up. The frog is croaking with his prideful sound, and the snake devours the frog. So if we're calling on the Lord through his activities, his fame, his pastimes, his entourage, we're talking about his devotees, we're praying to the Lord, we're chanting his names, we're doing all this kind of stuff. There is no sin in that. But when you break away and you start your own ideas about how things ought to be done, and you don't want to hear from the Shastra, and you don't want to learn from the sadhu, then you're on your own. At that point, you are responsible for your own karma. But Krishna is so kind, he says, Samoham sarva bhuteshu. And what this means is, I envy no one. There's nobody in existence that I envy. I'm not partial to anyone. I'm not. I'm equal to everyone, always. But now, Prabhupada said, whenever there's a sentence in the word but, I just heard this on a lecture the other day. Prabhupada was giving. He said, when the word but is interjected, that means, hold on, there's something special you should know. So he says, I'm equal to everyone. I'm not partial to anyone, but. So here's a little special information for you. You want to know what that is? Krishna says, whoever renders service to me in devotion is a friend. He is in me, and I am also a friend to him. It's called Sakya Ras. In other words, the rasa of friendship. So these relationships we want to cultivate, because by cultivating these friendships and these relationships with the Supreme Lord, we won't be disturbed by the mundane relationships in the material world. Instead, we'll have a clear vision and we'll understand. He goes on to say that, O son of Prita, those who take shelter in me, okay, no matter who they are, women, Vaishyas, merchants, whoever it is, Sudras, workers, anybody, it don't matter who it is. They can approach the supreme destination because they took shelter of me. Krishna is always saying, whatever you want, come to me for it. Come to me with all your desires and all your prayers. Krishna has time for you. It's not like he's so busy with everybody else he can't get to you. Krishna is individually in your heart and soul, and he's there exclusively for you as well. So we get there by following his instructions in the 9th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita in verse 34. Do you know what that one is? Very wonderful verse. It says, Manmana bhavamad bhakto madhyaji nam namaskuru mami vaishyashi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayana. I love this verse. He says, just simply engage your mind in thinking of me. What's the problem with that? Is that hard? Let me ask you a question. Does it cost you a lot of money to do that? I mean, really? He's going to take away from your television program? You understand what I'm saying? But you can engage your mind always in thinking of me. Just simply offer your respects, your obeisances, worship me. I'm giving you everything that you have. Right? If my cat worships me, when I get on the porch, I can't walk because I gave it some food. It was starving to death. I gave it a little food. I didn't create the food. I didn't really do anything. I just offered it to the cat because he's starving to death. Somebody threw him out. And now I'm his best friend. I'm his worshipable Lord, if you will, because he'll come up and lay on me, rub on me. He gets under my feet. I almost fall over this cat because he's so affectionate. Because I simply gave him something to eat. Now, Krishna is giving you all that you eat. He's giving you the intelligence that you have, the world you're living in, the body you live in, the pleasure you're experiencing, the sun, the moon, the earth, the universe, everything else, things you don't even know about. Krishna has given you everything. So can you not give a little back? He goes on to say, being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So this is the axiom that we should follow. So when Akrura says, today I shall certainly see him, the goal and spiritual master of all the great souls, seeing him brings jubilation to all who have eyes, for he is the true beauty of the universe. Indeed, his personal form is the shelter desired even by the goddess of fortune. Now all the dawns of my life have become auspicious. So he's dreaming in his mind about seeing Krishna. And he goes on to say, when he gets there, he sees the Lord's footprints all over Vrindavan from where they're walking all around. I mean, I could continue to read so many of these wonderful verses, but we got to kind of what time is it? I don't even see the clock for some reason. Oh, okay. We got to finish this chapter. Sorry. I'm going to set you free in just a moment, but let me grab this last couple of thoughts. Okay. This is important because it goes back over the verse we just said. The Supreme Lord has no favorite and no dearmost friend, nor does he consider anyone undesirable, despicable, or fit to be neglected. He expands his Lord Shiva to take even the worst of all, ghosts and hobgoblins and God knows what, okay, crematorium people, this and that. He accepts them all, even in the modes of ignorance he accepts. Even if they hate him and they come to him to kill him, he'll kill them and deliver them. This is the mercy and the love of God. We can't even imagine it. Even though he has nobody that he considers, any special or undesirable, he lovingly reciprocates with his devotees in whatever manner they worship him. Just as the trees of heaven fulfill the desires of whoever approaches them. So in heaven, there are the desire trees. And all you have to do is give me this, give me a mango, give me whatever you want. They produce whatever fruit you desire without any effort, because this is how God is creating. He's creating everything in his mind, and so are you. Whatever you think, whatever you desire will manifest before you at some point once you're deserving. You just have to be careful what you desire, because you might just get something you didn't really want. So I've got more stuff here I could go over for you. But one of the things that I told you about earlier about Balaram, when they came, they gave him a wonderful seat, asked him about his well-being, washed his feet, and then offered him milk and honey and all types of wonderful aromatic spices. and so forth and so on. Akrura was overwhelmed, it says, with affection. He quickly jumped down from his chariot and fell at the feet of Krishna and Balaram like a rod. And the joy of seeing Supreme Lord flooded Akrura's eyes with tears and decorated his limbs with eruptions of ecstasy. He felt such eagerness that he could not speak, even to present himself. He couldn't say a word. This is what happens when you're in the presence of Almighty God. You can't say a word. You're done. You fall like a rod. You're teared up. You're choked up. This is the realization. God is pure love, and it's overwhelming and irresistible. So Krishna drew him close with his hand, and he was felt very pleased with Akrura. And as Akrura stood there with his head bowed, they grasped his joined hands. Balaram grasped his joined hands and took him to the house of Lord Krishna and made him comfortable, offered him first-class seat, bathed his feet, served him milk and honey, and all types of preparations. I want to go because he had unlimited, delicious presentations of food and fragrances, flower garlands, all the greatest things. And Akrura enjoyed the highest pleasures under that. And that is how the chapter ended, just before Akrura begins to speak about what Krishna has, the message that Kamsa has given him, which is to set Krishna and Balaram up for their death. At least this is what Kamsa is thinking right now. You think it's going to work out? Probably not. Now you got to stick around for chapter 39, guys, because chapter 39 is going to talk all about how everybody gets their butt whipped and Krishna comes out victorious, okay? So I think you're going to enjoy that. I didn't give the plot away. You already knew that part. Anyway, wherever Krishna goes, so is all auspiciousness, all victory, all opulence, everything accompanies the Supreme Lord wherever he goes. This is said so in the Bhagavad Gita. So there's lots of other references. I don't have time to give them to you tonight, unfortunately. Sorry. So anyway, I hope you got something out of that chapter. But I do want to mention one last thing, because there are so many divisions amongst human beings because people are making it up as they go. Okay? There is the original Vedic knowledge, but it appears to be lost, Krishna says. Every time he comes, he has to say, well, you guys have lost the information I gave you last time, so now I got to give it to you again, okay? But at the end of him giving the Ashtanga Yoga system, the Karma Yoga system, the Jnana Yoga system, and the Bhakti Yoga system, he simply says these words in 1866. Sarvadharma parityaja mamikam saranam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayashami ma suchaha. I love that. And what is he saying to you? Abandon all this mental concoction, all this man-made so-called religious sectarianism and nationalism and schisms and God knows racism and misogynism. I just want to vomit it when I hear it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, ugh. All of these things are contaminations to pure truth that Krishna is giving. So what is he saying after explaining the whole Bhagavad Gita? He said, just abandon all this nonsense and surrender to me. I'll deliver you. Don't worry about it. There's no fear. So that's our duty, guys. Give it all back. It don't belong to you anyway. Just give it to Krishna. And guess what? He'll leave you a little bit. Don't worry about it. You offer your food. If he does come and eat it all, that'd be the coolest thing, wouldn't it? But fortunately, he leaves a little bit there for you. Okay, so we've gone over my time tonight. But thank you guys so much for coming to the class. Oh, this sweet Catalina was with us. Catalina's my niece, my grandniece, actually, and she came to the class tonight. So I saw her with a little heart that just left. So she's so sweet. She wants to learn yoga. She's practicing yoga right now. So she's a darling. And I'm going to be visiting with her very soon. Vamsi Vilas, we love you. We appreciate you so much. I want to hear from you because you always have so many wonderful things, but I think Rangavati she's getting a little agitated and wants to get out of here. So there's Vamsi. All right. Vamsi, you're so sweet. And Krishna Dasi, wonderful to have you. You're the best daughter anybody could ever hope for in the whole world. So you just keep it up, okay? Keep it up. Even if there's some fault, no worries. We just read the verse. Remember that, okay? So chant after me. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna.
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare
Rama.
Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Hare Rama.
Rama Rama.
Rama.
Rama
Rama
Rama.
Rama.
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Hare.
Please offer your prayers on my behalf. I surely need them. I'm grateful for you, and we look forward to seeing you next installment. Haribol.
Hare.
Hare.